recently we had a situation with Joe Budden, who has a podcast. He rose to fame from. I mean, he was a rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was he translated that into some other gig, and then he did reality TV for a minute, which we all know is the breakout moment when you're really becoming a success is when you're on reality. And so he did that, and he was able to segue that into a podcast and a talk show. And so he had a couple guys that were with him, Rory and Maul, and they were with him from the beginning, and they were grinding it out, and they were doing their thing, and they helped him build this platform. And so once he got start getting the looks from Viacom and some of those the heavy hitters, and he had a Spotify deal on the table. The guys that were with him the entire time, grinding it out, no questions asked, was like, whoa, like what, like, so can we ask about the numbers? Like how is this going to unfold? How's it going to unravel? How do things land? Here I'll let them speak for themselves, and then we can figure out. This was Joe's response to their questions.
Change the splits. Change the benchmarks. Hey, y'all go get a deal and bring it back. I'll take less. I'll take less. Not much less. Not much less. But I'll take less if y'all source it. Hey, y'all go get the advertiser and the integration. Hey, we talk about these deals all the time. You bring it, you eat different. I bring it, I eat different. You niggas ain't brought shit and got the nerve to have y'all fucking representation and ain't been around in 6 years, hit Ian phone about something. I won't say what I want to say, but y'all will not continue to treat me this way.
So that was his response. That was his response to his co-hosts asking him, hey, we've been riding with you we've been riding it out with you. We made some major strides from coming from a podcast to to this big deal. And we just want to know kind of like, what the numbers is looking like for us. And he fired them on air. And my question is, I mean, he said, I don't want to say I'm not going to say what I want to say. What more? I mean,
you fired me on air. You said it.
You said it all. You said it all. You said it all. Other than he got holes in his drawers and his baby mama is like, other than personal business. But my thing is this: can friends be in business together, or is it over once? Is it over from the beginning?
I don't think it has anything to do with friendship. I think it's the business. It's a business deal gone wrong, and I think that they didn't set up the proper a proper deal. Like, what happens if we blow up? You get this, you get this, you get that. I think they went into it haphazardly, and they may have felt slighted for a while, and they felt in this moment, hey, we've got to figure out what our cut is, because he might be the show person, but all these people make it happen. They're all important, and they've probably felt like they weren't being compensated enough. You can be Joe Budden, but you can't be Joe Budden unless I hit this button, do these graphics, write this stuff, call, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a show. It's not just you, the show person. So I feel like they feel disrespected. And I don't know if we'd have this conversation on the air, but about 10:55, I have a question for you guys about what's going on with this show. What's
okay,
good?
So Ralph, what give me what's your thoughts on it?
My thing is, it's just like in TV, in Success you renegotiate. You might go in your first season and your check is $10,000 an episode, but just like Friends back in the day, I don't know if you remember that, but Friends held out after, I think, season 1 or 2. They all held out for them to get $100,000 each, and they didn't come to work. And the network could have smashed them just like that. They could have said whatever. But there's a way to do it. Now, I don't know if I necessarily would have said to him, can we know the numbers? I would have let business people ask those questions, and then he should have been classy and just saying, you know, if Joe, if you're handling the business like that, and their business people came, you handle it all professionally. He don't have to go. We're in the era of the clapback and the
cancel culture,
giving everybody the raw all the time, every situation. And it's like, look, you call yourself a businessman, you have a business portal and an entity that can make money. Why you gotta still act like you on the corner fighting for, you know, your corner customers? You know, that it ain't that. It's not that. It's a bigger deal than that. The people on the bigger portals, the Adam Carollas and all, they ain't firing people online. They ain't firing them in front of you. No. You know, there's a way to do it, and it's like that. It's I hear a frustrated rapper anytime I listen to Joe Budden. I hear a frustrated rapper.
I agree. And,
you know, so
I agree. I thought it was an oxymoron that he said, we talk about all these deals, we talk about all the business aspects of it, when they're saying we don't. And then he turns around and says, why would you have your representation to call me about the numbers? Isn't that how that's supposed to go?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So
that's exactly how it's supposed to go.
I feel like it was a chess move. I feel like it was demeaning. I feel like it was intentional. I feel like it was to lower it was like to embarrass them and to lower their stock, so that when it came to the negotiations, you could then be like, they're not worth anything because I was able to fire them on air or whatever the case may be. But so when the buzz got going, and so people went to the person that I feel like that right now people feel like is the litmus for how to be successful with your friends, and we're gonna hear what he had to say.
Okay, he's fired the one on air, and then the other one he said he's allowing him to come back, long as he changes his views.
Yes.
So the podcast is still going to move on.
Yes.
He's just getting new co-hosts.
Yes, he's getting new co-hosts. By the way,
is that what Spank is?
New co-hosts that if they decided to come would be stepping into not only a toxic work environment, a work environment where you get no respect at all from the person that employs you. The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the example that you just saw. Here's the question of the day. How does it make sense to you to have such strong actions against the people that were with you as you built the brand that you now stand on and demand respect for? This brand that has allowed you to not only succeed and have success has been accompanied by your partners. Work for hires maybe, but they're your partners.
I got something to say.
Okay, so Kevin, so the guy goes on to ask, would you be upset if we asked you about the numbers? And Kevin's response was, you don't have to ask me about the numbers because I have an open door policy. I'd start the dialogue so that you don't have to ever be in that type of a that type of a dark cloud over anything that we're doing. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt on that because we saw what he did with the Red Cup boys. We saw what he
I know Kevin to be pretty fair, so he puts his money where his mouth is. So what he said is pretty solid, but you know, and that allows him to say what he said. You know,
and but he went on further to say that basically he felt like Joe Budden was trying to be King Dingaling in the room, and I agree with him wholeheartedly. Yeah. Has that ever happened to anybody before?
Where somebody's not paying you fairly?
I mean, of course that's happened. Where you've been on set, on camera, on a gig, and just out of the blue, somebody just was like, "Bow," like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't even like. I've seen interviews with people like Ari Spears, stuff like that, where it goes to blows.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm just like, let's just keep it classy. But I'm just wondering, like, how do you like? I don't even know. I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Man, if it doesn't directly affect me, I've learned that people. I've been in the business a long time, and people are going to have their moments. And if it doesn't really affect me and how I go home with my peace, and if I'm coming back to work tomorrow, that person might be having a bad day, or we might be seeing another part of this person that they've been concealing for a long time. But either they'll burn in flames, or the audience, because you never know what people who are watching us are thinking, and and if they're going to be back tomorrow. Because they like the drama that we gave them, or they may really be looking at it as entertainment, and they might not be taking it as personally as we might take it at the moment. Because I did a radio show where the host of the show was slamming every guest that walked through the door before the guest came in the door, and I was a guest on that show in studio. And every person who was coming in, big name people, was coming in this door, and the host was clowning, and I was just like, and that person would sit right next to me, and I'd be like, oh God. But it's like, who am I to say, hey man, you shouldn't do that. This person is a good person. And then, each person who they clowned ended up staying extra time because the host was having that much fun with the person. So it just, what am I going to say? I see it all the time.
Go ahead, Seth.
I've walked away from situations where people started that with me, and recently, where people are really caught up in what their credits were and their worth, and ready to fight, and it's not worth it for me. It's not worth it for me to battle with someone like that, or even to make money like that, because even if we make this money, I'm gonna have to worry about another situation if we elevate. It's just a contentious environment that, like he said, a hostile working environment that you'll never be able to feel comfortable in. And having to support my family with that kind of, money and experience, I need to be able to sleep at night. So it's enough for me.